I wanted to make a video about a day in the life of a cancer patient, but I quickly realized that's impossible because every person is different, every situation is different, and every cancer is different. What I can do, however, is walk you through a 24-hour period of what it's like to be me. So, usually I wake up around 8 a.m., go to the bathroom. First thing I do is, excuse me for being so blunt, but take a dump. It's important because I have issues getting sufficient food in my system at the moment, and making sure there's space for that food throughout the day is important. So that's always the first thing I do. Then I go ahead and brush my teeth. Now, that may seem like something simple, but it's not. I always have to be very careful because if I'm not, it can trigger my gag reflex and cause me to throw up. Now, usually at this point, my system has digested the food enough that I don't throw up food. It's usually just bile that comes up. But if you've ever thrown up bile, you know that it's bitter and that it's not a pleasant sensation. Plus, it always sucks starting the day when you throw up. So I'm always very careful about that, but every once in a while, not quite careful enough, and I end up throwing up. So once I'm done brushing my teeth, go back to the bedroom, get dressed, go ahead and prepare my pills for the day, then go to the kitchen, refill my water bottle, which I always have with me, I'm sure you've seen before. Then I go ahead and fill a glass of water and mix in about a, teaspoon, maybe a little more of laxative. And the reason why I do that is because I have issues consuming enough food. The last thing I want is to be constipated or have any problems with my digestive system. So I just take a little bit every day just to make sure that that goes smoothly. And it's less than the recommended dose. I just take a bit just to make sure that things are good. And the thing is, it's not like a normal laxative, it's just basically fibers that dissolve in the water. So once I'm done with that, I go ahead and prepare my breakfast, which usually is fruit. Lately, it's been a thick slice of watermelon. And then I go ahead and bring that to the living room, take my pills, go ahead and eat the watermelon sometimes, and drink the water with the laxative in it. Sometimes I'm gonna wait to eat the breakfast until after I've recorded the video. This morning I ate it before, but that kind of varies from day to day. So either before or after that, I'm gonna go ahead and record my video for the day. Sorry. So, ooh, nice chunk of phlegm there. So, when it comes to the video, I've already kind of walked through the process of how that works, so I won't go into detail. The only thing I will mention is if I already know what the theme of the video is, then it's easy. Just sit down, start recording, say what I gotta say, and the video and upload it. However, certain days, like this morning, for example, I'm like, I have no idea what to talk about. There's nothing specific that happened in my life that seems worth sharing, that seems entertaining. And, I know I've kind of developed a habit of recording every day. So, in general, I try to make a video per day. Every once in a while, usually I'd say on average, maybe once per week, there's just a day that either I'm feeling kind of off and I'm just like, I don't want to bother with the video today, or I just literally have absolutely nothing interesting or worthwhile to say. So, whenever that happens, I just skip a day every once in a while. So once that's done, then I go ahead and upload the video. If I haven't eaten yet, I'm gonna go ahead and eat and usually practice Spanish while I'm waiting for the video to upload. I uploaded both to YouTube and to TikTok. That usually takes, the entire process of recording and uploading usually takes about half an hour. After that, I kind of relax a bit, go ahead and make a second little breakfast. Lately, I've been having waffles. Well, it's basically a waffle sandwich. I invented this like a long time ago. So, toast two waffles, or like frozen waffles, like Eggo waffles, like those types of waffles, and toast them. On one side, I fill the holes with cream cheese. On the other side, I fill it with jam and kind of like close it together to make a sandwich. Now, I know it's not super great for your health, but at this point, I need to get as many calories as I can in my body. It's not a question of is it good for me? Is it good for my health? It's like, what will my body tolerate, what has the most amount of calories, and those types of food do have a higher amount of calories in general. So I don't really feel bad taking stuff like that. So yeah, that's usually kind of my second breakfast. I usually have two of those sandwiches, so four waffles. That kind of fills me up. And the reason why I try to eat more in the morning is because that is the only time of day where I actually do feel somewhat hungry and I can enjoy food. Most of the time, like the only foods that I truly do enjoy at this point are fruits. For some reason, my body is able to enjoy fruits. Anything else, it's like, even if I am hungry, it's like, okay, I can somewhat enjoy it, but it's not the same. Like, if I had a choice of eating or not eating, I would definitely choose not to eat. Whereas fruits, I'm like, yeah, okay, I actually enjoy eating those. Unfortunately, there's not really a ton of calories in there, so I'm kind of limited in the amount that I can eat of every day. So, anyway, so yeah, once I'm done eating my second breakfast, then I go ahead and usually relax, maybe watch a little TV, let myself digest. Then I go ahead and usually go to the park for a walk. I started doing that, I think 4 days ago. I think today's the fifth day. And the reason for that is just, well, it's twofold really. First of all, I need the exercise to slowly start rebuilding my muscle and, start gaining weight back because losing weight is definitely not a good thing. Second thing, it helps me sleep a bit. Not It doesn't make a huge difference, but it does help to do that physical activity. That way, by the end of the day, I'm tired and I don't spend too much time tossing and turning in bed before going to sleep. So usually, by the time I'm back from my walk, um, the whole walking process and everything kind of activated my digestive system. The fact that I ate, so a lot of the times I end up going to the bathroom a second time. After that, I go ahead and have lunch because it's usually around lunchtime by that time. Now that's going to vary. What I like to do lately, because I don't have any appetite and the process of cooking is just, it sucks. Like when you're not hungry and you have to spend like an hour, let's say, every day preparing food, and you're not going to enjoy, you're going to have to force yourself to eat it. It's not a fun process. So I usually try to just make a big recipe that's going to last me most of the week. So as an example, this week I'm eating burritos. So I just, made the mix of vegetables and rice and everything. And then I add like salsa and I add sour cream and tomatoes and, lettuce and stuff like that. So that seems to be, my body seems to be able to tolerate that pretty well. So that seems to be pretty good this week. After lunch, continue relaxing, usually watch TV, something like that. I do try to have another snack early afternoon, usually around 2 o'clock, something like that, just because I know that past like 3 or 4 o'clock, I'm just not hungry. I do not enjoy at all eating. Whenever I do, I just have to force myself and it sucks. And by then, my system is already so full that it's just like by the time I'm done eating, I just feel like I'm gonna explode and it's not a fun feeling. Plus, the later in the day it is, the higher the odds that I'm gonna throw up. So, throughout the day, obviously, I cough every once in a while. The breathing during the day has been better lately. Every once in a while, it's still an issue. Whenever I come back from my walk, there's always a period of 15 to 30 minutes where I cough more, where I have more breathing issues, where basically my body needs to kind of like calm down and be able to relax and get back to a point where I'm breathing relatively normally. And yeah, coughing throughout the day, it really depends. Certain things seem to trigger it more. So, having conversations, unfortunately, which means that I try to have most of my conversations with my wife earlier in the day because I know that triggers the coughing less. And at this point, the coughing, whenever it gets out of control, that's usually what causes me to throw up. So, unfortunately, it's like sometimes it's difficult. It's like I want to speak to my wife, she wants to speak to me, like we miss each other, but it's just like sometimes I'm like, I can't do it. I know it's too risky. As an example, yesterday we spoke and ended up coughing and ended up throwing up as a result of that. So, definitely not pleasant. So, anyway, that's kind of my day. Usually in the evening, I try to go to bed relatively early, but that's going to vary depending on the day, depending on how tired I feel, because I know that there's no point in going to bed too early unless I feel tired, because then I'm just going to toss and turn in bed. And the more time that I spend in bed, the more uncomfortable it gets for me, the more sore my body gets, and the night's gonna suck. So usually I go to bed between 8 and 10, really depending on how I feel. Sometimes it takes me a little while to fall asleep, but usually it's relatively quick. The only issue is I wake up, I would say, a minimum of a dozen times every night. And that is because sometimes it's breathing issues. I do have more trouble breathing during the night. In the past, I would cough also during the night. Lately, that seems to be doing better. Of course, every time I talk about coughing. So yeah, it seems to be doing better, the coughing for now at night, so that's a good thing. But mostly I wake up simply because I'm so skinny at this point that my body gets very uncomfortable very quickly in whatever position I'm in, so I have to shift positions very often throughout the night. So I just keep falling asleep, waking up, being sore, changing positions, managing to fall back asleep, and that cycle repeats over and over and over throughout the night. Every once in a while, it's interrupted by me having to go to the bathroom to pee and then coming back. And sometimes I make the mistake of looking at the time and it's like, it feels like it would be midway through the night. It's like, oh no, I've only been sleeping for 2 hours. And even though normally you're like, yes, I have more time to sleep, when sleeping sucks, you're like, no, I need to sleep more. So definitely not pleasant, and that's the issue because that's kind of the cycle I have to go through every night. I always wake up feeling not necessarily exhausted, I just never feel rested. And usually in the morning, um, by the time I wake up enough to get up and it's time to get up, I have a little more breathing issues. It gets better within the first hour of being up and everything. But, there's always that period where I'm in bed and I'm just like, yep, I'm having trouble breathing. This sucks. Plus, like by morning, I'm always like pretty sore. So definitely not pleasant. So that's pretty much the cycle I go through every day. Throughout the day and throughout the nights, sometimes it's going to vary slightly and things like that. But, that's pretty much what my life is like currently with cancer. And I say currently because in the past it's been worse, it's been better. There's been different issues I had to deal with, but right now at the moment, that's pretty much what my life is like. So hopefully that kind of gave you an idea of what it's like to, have cancer and have to deal with these things on a daily basis. So as you can tell, like it's not horrible. It has been much, much, much worse in the past, but it's definitely not pleasant. You're always stuck in that cycle of one, repeating the same day over and over, and two, never being able to fully rest. So definitely not pleasant, but it is what it is. So that has been my story for the day, and I'll talk to you tomorrow.